Hello, welcome to News Central Now, coming to you live from our studio in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Benga Aborowa, and here are the top stories at this hour. Wildfires have gutted parts of a restaurant at Rhodes Memorial in Cape Town, South Africa. 19 civilians have been killed in Niger Republic's Gaiguru village close to the Malian border. And nearly 100 people have been injured in a train accident in Egypt's Kwaliobia province. We'll bring you all the details shortly. We begin the news in South Africa, where firefighters are battling to contain wildfires that have gutted part of the restaurant at Rhodes Memorial in Cape Town, South Africa. Spokesperson for the City of Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Services, Germaine Carels, said they were alerted to the vegetation fire above Philip Kogosana Drive at about 8:45 a.m. on Sunday. Carels added that they also had 3 choppers, which are also waterbombing the area. The Table Mountain National Park has meanwhile requested that all hikers within Newlands and Rhodes Memorial area evacuate with immediate effect. Staying in Southern Africa, Zimbabwe is commemorating its 31st Independence Day with low-key celebrations amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Most activities are being held virtually in accordance with COVID-19 prevention measures. In a tweet to mark the date, President Emmerson Mnangagwa commended the genius and passion of the people, adding that Zimbabwe will rise once again. Formerly known as Rhodesia, the Southern African country gained independence as Zimbabwe on the 18th of April 1980 from Britain.
Located in Southern Africa, Zimbabwe lies between the Zambezi and Limpopo rivers, bordered by South Africa to the south, Botswana to the southwest, Zambia to the north, and Mozambique to the east. A country of roughly 14 million people, Zimbabwe has 16 official languages, with English, Shona, and Ndebele the most common. The capital and largest city is Harare. Formerly known as Rhodesia, the Southern African country gained independence as Zimbabwe on April 18, 1980 from Britain. Zimbabwe's first president after its independence was Canaan Banana, while Robert Mugabe, leader of the ZANU party, was the country's first prime minister and head of government. With this year marking 41 years of independence, President Emmerson Mnangagwa's theme is Zimbabwe at 41, together growing our economy for a prosperous, resilient and inclusive society. President Emmerson Mnangagwa hosted a big military parade at the State House to mark the day. The event, though restricted to large gatherings due to COVID-19 preventive protocols, had a big colorful parade with Zimbabwe's flag flying high and the president inspecting guards of honor.
I congratulate you, our citizens, for abiding by the national lockdown regulations and measures. The accomplishments we have made to date are due to the unity of purpose and spirit of oneness we have all shown. On 18 February 2021, government launched the National Vaccination Program to contain the spread of the deadly virus and ensure herd immunity. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank various partners and the friends of Zimbabwe.
Meanwhile, residents have continued to complain of a stifled economic growth. Above all, there is hope that Zimbabwe will rise again. Happy Independence, Zimbabwe.
Earlier, I spoke to Dr. Davidson Todson Gomo, the Principal Director at the Commissariat Department of Zimbabwe's ruling party, ZANU-PF. Dr. Domo told us the significance of the independence amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. And in East Africa, Prime Minister of Tanzania, Kassim Majaliwa, says at least 6,475 schoolgirls in Tanzania dropped out of school in 2020 over pregnancy. Majaliwa said among the girls, 1,135 girls were from primary schools and 5,340 from secondary schools. The Prime Minister revealed the teenage pregnancy figures when he launched the national agenda for investing in health and development for adolescents in the capital, Dodoma. He said the newly launched agenda is aimed at protecting adolescents from catching HIV and AIDS, teenage pregnancy, social violence, and providing them with good nutrition in schools. In the Horn of Africa, 2 people have been killed while a third is critically injured after an explosion in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa. The police blamed the explosion on a hand grenade that went off in the Lidetta area of the city this afternoon. Police say they're investigating the incident. And in West Africa, the United States has ordered its non-essential staff in Chad to leave the African country as rebel fighters approach the capital on Sunday. A statement by the United States Department directed non-essential U.S. government employees should leave Chad by commercial airline. The U.S. directive comes after the British government on Saturday urged its citizens to leave because 2 armed convoys from the rebel Front for Change and Concord in Chad were advancing towards the capital. The rebels advanced towards N'Djamena after early election results showed President Idris Deby on course to extend his 3-decade rule. Officials in the Republic of Niger say 19 civilians have been killed in an attack in the west of the country, close to the border with Mali. The civilians were killed by armed men on motorbikes who raided Gaiguru village. Reports say the attackers started by killing people at a funeral, then went into the village and shot everyone they saw. In a neighboring Nigeria, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested 2 persons for allegedly trafficking 191 pellets of heroin and cocaine via Murtala Mohammed International Airport in the commercial capital, Lagos. Spokesperson for the agency noted on Sunday that the latest arrest comes barely 2 weeks after a Madrid, Spain-bound trafficker excreted 113 wraps of cocaine after his arrest at the same airport. 2 suspects in the latest arrest excreted 191 pellets of heroin and cocaine while under observation. The rising insecurity across West African country of Nigeria should no longer be tolerated. Now, this was the focal point of conversation at the African Democratic Congress press briefing held in the country's commercial city of Lagos. News Central's Marichinda reports.
It is a gathering of youths. The focal point is the youth takeover of leadership with the nation's 2023 elections less than 24 months away.
ADC is out to run an inclusive government. It's out to run an inclusive government. And so our youth, as you come in, know that inclusivity, yes, inclusivity matters. And that is what Nigeria needs now.
And it is with this rousing applause that the coalition of young candidates of Nigeria officially is recognizing the African Democratic Congress as a third force political party for young Nigerians to run for various elective positions going forward.
To bring the needed change in Nigeria through ADC come 2023. I would like to let the new youth to know this, that as you come into ADC, ADC is not like every other party. It is an organized system. And in an organized system, things work.
The potentials of a country led by youths is enormous, the ADC says.
So this is a clarion call for Nigerian youths. Let's get involved in the system. We should stop sitting on the fence. This is 2021. 2020 is around the corner, but for how long are we going to complain and sit on the fence? So ADC is a vehicle to achieve that. Mind you, Nigeria had all it takes to be a world power in the next 20 years. We need conscious-minded, patriotic Nigerian youth. Once Nigeria gets it right, Africa gets it right.
Cutting the cost of governance and providing formidable security is a promise this party, founded in 2005, is making.
Today, Nigeria is known to have spent so much money in buying arms. They cannot even account for the money they put in security. Who are you securing? Yet people are dying. Who are you securing? When food is not on people's table, there will be insecurity. When you carry out appointments and those appointments are lopsided, there will be insecurity. We have millions of Nigerian youths without jobs. There will be insecurity.
It would be recalled that 93 political parties were cleared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to participate in the 2019 elections in Nigeria. But this had been delimited to 18, with the ADC as one of those parties. Mary Chinda reporting for News Central.
Speaking of politics, parliamentary elections were held in Cape Verde on Sunday, with the ruling party, the Movement for Democracy, pitted against its main challenger, the African Party for the Independence of Cape Verde. Prime Minister Ulysses Correia e Silva from the MPD is seeking a second 5-year term. His main opponent from PAICV, Janira Hopfa Almada, is looking to become the country's first female leader. After voting, Almada accused the Prime Minister's party of sending text messages to supporters on Saturday after the end of the official campaign period. Cape Verde is a bastion of democracy in Africa. There is no clear winner in sight after a campaign dominated by the coronavirus pandemic and its effect on Cape Verde's tourism-dependent economy. You're watching News Central now. Coming up on the news, South Africa's health regulator has recommended a lifting of the pause on the use of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccines, but with conditions. Details of this and more when the news returns. You're welcome back. 97 people were injured on Sunday when some train carriages derailed in Egypt's Quanubia province, north of Cairo. The health ministry said more than 50 ambulances rushed to the site and moved the injured to 3 hospitals in the province. Some local media reports said some people had been killed in the accident. At least 20 people were killed and nearly 200 were injured in March when 2 trains collided near Tata, about 440 kilometers south of the capital, Cairo. In the meantime, the mummified remains of 22 kings and queens from ancient Egypt went on display today at the new resting place south of the capital, Cairo. Experts at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization took 2 weeks to carefully examine and unpack the mummies after they were transported there in a lavish ceremony. For the first time, the mummies are showcased next to the coffins with X-ray images also displayed to help tell the stories of their deaths more than 3,000 years ago. The underground vault resembles the original tombs. The authorities hope the new exhibition will help to revive Egypt's virtual tourism sector. And now to a continued coverage of the coronavirus pandemic across Africa. South Africa's health regulator has recommended that the government should lift its pause on administering Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines, given certain conditions are met. South African Health Products Regulatory Authority said the conditions include but are not limited to strengthened screening and monitoring of participants who are at high risk of blood clotting disorders. The regulator also said measures are to be implemented to ensure the safe management of any participants who develop vaccine thrombosis and thrombocytopenia. A US panel will meet again next week to discuss whether the pause on the vaccine should continue after delaying a vote on the matter earlier this week. In Kenya, a 3-month-old baby was one of 366 coronavirus infections recorded in the country on Sunday from a sample size of more than 3,000 tests carried out in the country in the last 24 hours. Figures released today show the number of confirmed cases in Kenya now stand at 151,000 from more than 1.6 million tests conducted since March. Of the new cases, 354 are Kenyans, while 12 are foreigners, with 215 being male, while 151 female. The oldest was 86 years old. 18 deaths were also reported in the last 24 hours. This now brings the cumulative number of fatalities in the country to 2,481. Still ahead in World Rap, Syria's parliament has announced that the country will hold its presidential election next month. More on this when we return. Syria is to hold a presidential election next month in a move likely to maintain President Bashar al-Assad's grip on power. The election for president, who will serve a 7-year term, will take place on the 26th of May. Prospective candidates for the election will be able to register from Monday, while Syrians abroad would be able to vote at embassies on the 20th of May. Mr. Assad is not expected to face serious opposition despite continuing conflict and a growing economic crisis. After 10 years of war, the Syrian government controls most of the big population centers in the country. About 400,000 people have been killed and over half of Syrians displaced. Israel has ended the mandatory wearing of face masks outdoors in the latest move towards a return to normalcy, boosted by a mass vaccination campaign. This comes after about 81% of citizens or residents over 16 have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Infections and hospitalizations are also down sharply. However, entry by foreigners is still limited, and non-immune Israelis who return from abroad must self-isolate due to concerns about various variants that could challenge the vaccine. Police in the U.S. city of Indianapolis says a gunman who opened fire at a FedEx warehouse, killing 8 people, had legally bought the 2 assault rifles he used, despite having a shotgun confiscated months earlier. Brandon Ho's mother had warned about his mental state last March, and police had taken a gun he owned away from him. But he was still able to buy 2 assault rifles in July and September. The 19-year-old former FedEx worker opened fire at the warehouse on Thursday before killing himself minutes before the police arrived. 4 of the dead have been identified as members of the local Sikh community. All the victims include 2 19-year-olds, a university graduate, and a father. And up next is business news. In business, Egypt has been put on JP Morgan's watch list for its emerging market government bond index. The move comes after 10 years after Egypt was delisted from the index. Finance Minister Mohamed Mait said JP Morgan putting Egypt under review comes in preparation for Egypt joining the index within a maximum period of 6 months. The minister said it is expected that Egypt will enter with 14 issues with a total value of about $24 billion, with a percentage in the index expected at 1.78%. The EM Government Index is a benchmark for measuring the total return performance of international government and corporate bonds issued by EM countries that meet specific liquidity and structural requirements. Now in sports, Eliud Kipchoge has won the NN Mission Marathon in his final race before he defends his title at the postponed Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The 36-year-old Kenyan clocked 2 hours, 4 minutes and 30 seconds in his first outing since his shock defeat at last year's London Marathon. Compatriot Jonathan Korir was second with a time of 2 minutes and 10 seconds, while Eritrea's Goitom Kifle finished third. The invitation-only race took place at the 20 airport in the Netherlands. And still on athletics, over 8,000 local and international participants expected to be part of the 13th edition of the Kigali International Peace Marathon 2021, scheduled for June 20. The annual marathon comes at a time Rwanda and the rest of the world is battling with the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to the cancellation of last year's edition. The Rwandan athletics governing body said the race will take place in adherence to COVID-19 prevention protocols. The Kigali International Peace Marathon 2021 will take place a day before the 2021 Commonwealth Heads of Government meetings kicks off in the Rwandese capital, Kigali. UEFA and the Premier League have strongly condemned 12 major European clubs, including the Big Six from England, signing up to a breakaway European Super League. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United and Tottenham are part of the group. La Liga's Atletico Madrid, Barcelona and Real Madrid, as well as Serie A's AC Milan, Inter Milan and Juventus will be involved. UEFA says it will use all measures possible to stop the cynical project. Senior figures at European football's governing body are furious about the proposals. And that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take a look at some of the major stories. Wildfires have gutted part of the restaurant at Rhodes Memorial in Cape Town, South Africa. 19 civilians have been killed in Niger Republic's Gaigoro village close to the Malian border. And finally, we told you that nearly 100 people have been injured in a train accident in Egypt's Kwaliobia province. Remember to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV. You can also catch up with our news and programs. Just download the News Central TV mobile app on Play Store and iOS. You can also watch us live on StarTimes, channel 274. Many thanks for watching. I am Benga Aboroa.